Thank you. All you did is just make me more nervous. So here we go. Firstly, thank you to Dave for having us here at Home Church. It's a blessing to be here. I was just saying to him, the school is going to start. It's going to start very soon. So get ready because we're going to be working hard on this and we're going to get it going. So we heard so many different things today. We had Dave explain so much. We had Roger. Roger, can you believe it? It's a decade that we know each other now. It's 10 years. It is amazing how time just goes. But yes, you're going to hear quite a lot of things, a lot to take in, but there's also good. And we have the good right here that are seated with us and all the organizations and the schools, the home education groups, the Christian nursery, all that's represented here. So today, we gather not just as educators, parents, concerned citizens, or advocates, but as those who believe that Jesus Christ is Lord over every classroom, every home, every lesson, and every child's future. Every education initiative that is available. We are here because we believe that education is not neutral. It's either forms hearts towards truth or away from the truth. And we are united today here for Jesus' sake. So how are we doing? So, Proverbs 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Funny enough, when I was in Bible college 20 years ago, oh my days, in your second year, you have to preach. And I didn't know what to do, but for some reason, I used that scripture all those years ago. And I spoke on relationships, and I can just remember it, and you get marked on it, which is not a good thing, because it's quite terrifying knowing you're getting marked on your preaching. And so that just sticks with me, just because this verse reminds one that the values and lessons instilled in children are seeds that grow, even if results are not immediate. We continue to lead in truth. It matters where children are being educated. How are we doing? So this is what's happening in our Scotland. In Scotland today, reports show that young people are struggling with anxiety. Teachers feel overwhelmed. Violence is growing rapidly. Teachers are leaving. These are not just made up stories. They are reality. They are children in our streets, the teachers, and in our communities. They are our responsibility and our opportunity to awake, step up, and make a difference. But how can we when we are so divided, just as the church alone? Scottish primary schools are appointing children as LGBT champions. Pupils north of the border are also being urged to, can we go to the next slide, please? Pupils north of the border are also being urged to ask pupils as young as 4 if they are gay, lesbian, or trans. Documents discovered by the Telegraph found schools are setting up LGBT clubs and gender and sexual orientation alliance groups under the scheme set up by LGBT Youth Scotland. LGBT Youth Scotland received nearly £1 million of taxpayers' cash last year. That's us, that's you and I, that's our money. And it's even urging head teachers to install gender-neutral toilets, even after the Supreme Court ruling we have had. What are we seeing here is the product of placement gender ideology in schools, which is very harmful. Kids in primary school cannot possibly know if they are LGBT because biologically, psychologically, and emotionally, they will not have that capacity. LGBT Youth Scotland claims more than 200 Scottish secondaries and over 40 primaries that have joined the Charter for Education. The fee to join the charter ranges from £850 to £2,000. We ask for money to host an event and a conference, and we can't even get £5. This is how serious these issues really are. LGBT Youth Scotland is being taken to court over claims it failed to prevent child sex abuse. According to the Scottish Daily Mail, a man is suing LGBT Youth Scotland for over £100,000 after it failed to protect him from harm. He remains anonymous due to a court order, but the Scottish Courts and Tribunal Service has confirmed that the case has been lodged. In 2009, LGBT Youth Scotland's former chief executive, James Rennie, was given a life sentence for child sex offences. These things are serious. In 2022 to 2023, the group received almost £500,000 in grants from the Scottish Government and a further £500,000 from local authorities and NHS organisations. How are we just allowing this to happen? Just look at our streets, look at the poverty, look at what's going on, the drug abuse, the violence. Look at our nation, the councils, the government, but where are they sending our money to? Awake, my friends, arise, church. A student was removed from a Scottish school after her mother claimed the institute radicalized her daughter with an LGBT Youth Scotland scheme. The mum, identified as Joanne, believes the school was encouraging pupils to come out as trans. Joanne said that her then 12-year-old daughter, who is autistic, joined the school's lunchtime LGBT club in East Lothian. Within months of joining the club, Holly, who had never shown any signs of not wanting to be a girl, announced in a Christmas card to her family that she had become the trans son, and added her new male name in the card. Mum said, "We thought we were the first ones to know, but it turned out we were the last." It turned out that she was on her second male name already, and she even began using boys' names at the school for months. The family had been left completely in the dark. Joanne said, "I even went along with the new name for a while, but as soon as I started to ask questions about what was going on at the school, I was met with a wall of secrecy." Holly's school was signed up to the charter scheme run by the SNP government-funded charity LGBT Youth Scotland. Violent crimes by children. So we have a recent data that was just released from the Scottish Crime and Justice Survey showed a significant rise in the proportion of violent crimes committed by under 16s, reaching its highest recorded level, 31% in 2003 and 2024, up from 14% in 2008 and 9. This increase was reportedly driven by attacks on education and care staff. Violent crimes by children, including attacks on teachers, is at record levels according to a shock new report. A total of 231,000 crimes have suffered by adults in 2023 and 24 in Scotland. 231,000 in just Scotland. And Scotland, we are not a big nation. Knife crime and drug dealing. A survey commissioned by the Independent Office for Police Conduct Youth Panel identified knife crime and drug dealing as the top policing priorities for young people. When I lived in London, I started seeing in such a short time how knife crime was growing, and never expected it here in Scotland. And I just can't believe what we're seeing on our streets. Just 2 weeks ago on Princess Street in Edinburgh, there were young kids with machetes targeting vulnerable, just people, ordinary people on the streets. It was the most terrifying thing to actually see in Scotland. I could not believe this was happening in our land. But why? Online grooming and exploitation. Reports highlight a worrying rise in children are being groomed online by criminal gangs, sometimes being lured with promises of easy money and exploited to carry drugs. There's a progress in tackling youth violence, particularly places like Glasgow has reportedly slowed due to a lack of safe spaces and youth services, with lockdowns and police policies measures cited as contributing factors. This is why we need the church to stand up and help and make a difference, not to see our youth centers and clubs closing down, but actually should be growing and doing more work. Scotland became the first country in the world to implement the LGBT inclusive education as an expectation in all schools. This includes teaching about diverse families, historic LGBT figures, and addressing homophobic, biphobic, and transphobic bullying. A survey conducted on behalf of the charity Time for Inclusive Education found that a majority of Scottish parents, 70%, support the teaching of LGBT-related topics in school, with only 15% expressing opposition. The report suggests strong backing for education about LGBT-related bullying and prejudice. Now, how have we allowed this to happen? Church, where are you? So we use phrases that seasons are changing, that the tide is turning, but please don't come and say that to me when I see all this is happening. How are things changing? What are we seeing on the streets, in the news? I sit in the trains traveling all around for various events and stuff. The way I see young kids talking to their parents, if I spoke to my parents even little bit like that, my word, I would literally there'll be wooden spoons, everything be coming out for me. And that's no joke. And my parents will still do it today if I spoke to them like that. And you know what? I think that's why I'm here today. It helps. What's really going on? We are not to be blindsided by the reality. It just looks like we are playing games, but that is why we are here today, to make a change, to stand together. So speak out, and to not be fooled, but to awake and really make a difference, to bring change that will equip the good of this generation and the next. So the church has come to look no different to the world. We have been so concerned to be attractive to the world and not to be judgmental that we just look like a more boring version of it. We have made idols of the world. We have been saturated by what it loves and not by what Jesus loves. We just become a social club and forget what's really going on. We are the one treating others with no respect. How can you work for a church, support them no matter what, and they go behind you and treat you bad as well? And the church is also just become like the world. We are to humbly pray and confess and seek Jesus. How do we seek him? In his word, which is the first and last word. Thank God for those who do speak and those who have parental concerns and oppositions. They are concerns and materials and organizations that are destroying and taking and doing things that are not right. But thank God for those who are making a difference and that are standing. So there is much concerns about the influence and content of materials from organizations like LGBT Youth Scotland, with some experts warning us of manipulative and influencing content regarding the gender ideology. There's a guidance for school, which Roger kind of spoke about as well, but the Scottish Government has published guidance on supporting transgender pupils in schools, which emphasizes respecting the rights and identity of all young people, including those who are transgender. Now, we are to help and influence change in a loving way. We are not saying you hate or whatever, but we are to speak the truth in love and not to be fearful to do this. A man can't become a woman, and a woman can't become a man. God does not make a mistake. I was just in the courts in Newcastle for a case with the Darlington nurses that I'm sure many people have heard about. And we were sitting in there, and just to listen to the judges and just the debates going on in the court, they are fighting for a man who's identifying as a woman, changing in their safe spaces in front of female nurses. Like, how have we come to that world where you got people actually fighting for what a woman is and what a man is? It is just unbelievable that we're even fighting those things today. We got children identifying as animals as well. And recent reports reveal a shocking development in Scotland. Children in schools are being allowed to identify as animals, with one pupil even identifying as a wolf. This is not a harmless case of a child playing pretend. It is a school formally recognizing what they call the species dysphoria. And this is all over. You can find this information for yourself. It's happening. There are concerns about groups promoting even chest binders to vulnerable young people. See what the Scottish Parliament is actually doing. But are they listening to us when we stand up for children, for Christians? No, they really are not. But you can see that we can't just get angry when all these are happening, because who is voting these parties in? We believe that the challenges in our schools are not just problems to be solved, but a calling to be answered, a calling for the church to be the church. United for Jesus' sake isn't a solo mission. The challenges are too big for one person, one church, or one denomination. Unity multiplies our impact and demonstrates the love of Christ to a watching world. As Jesus prayed in John 17, that they may be one, so that the world may believe. You see, for Jesus' sake, this is our motivation at Unite for Education. It's not for our own glory to build our church's reputation or to win a cultural war. It's an act of worship and obedience to Jesus, who loved children, valued education as a rabbi, and called us to be salt and light. This motivation keeps us going when it's difficult and keeps our hearts in the right place, a place of service, not control. We are to understand being salt and light, and watch how we even use that phrase. Because Christ-centered education in the state school context is not about forcing doctrine or demanding prayer in every class. It's about an education community where Christian values are lived out for the benefit of everyone. It's where pupils see grace in action, teachers feel generally supported, and families know there's a safety net of love. It's about fostering pupils who are not just successful learners, but also confident individuals, effective contributors, and responsible citizens, a language that directly aligns with what we teach in Scotland. In order to deal with all that's going on, we got to address the confusion, and we are not to give up. We got to keep standing. Don't let confusion in or any form of deception in, as the truth always wins. We are to stand together. We are to know God and His Word. Thank God for the Christian schools who are currently here in Scotland, and we are to stand with them. We are to support them, talk about them. They should actually be the largest schools in Scotland. We got to let all understand the value of Christian education. And today we have some great schools represented at our conference here today. And I would like to call our newest Scottish school and the first Christian classical school in Scotland, Doxa Theo, to come and share about their school with us for a few minutes, please. Yeah. Go. Just share a bit, yeah.
This is very typical of you. I thought I'd be called up at some point, and I had no idea when I'd be called up to share, so here we are. But good morning, and greetings from the illustrious silver city of Aberdeen. And some of you are already thinking, well, it was pretty grey last time I was there, but I can assure you it's always silver in the minds of those who live there. So my name is Jay Entirely, and I am the school teacher at Doxa Theo Christian School. And we're a small independent school with 12 pupils. We opened in January of this year. And I'm the only teacher in the school. And we have a very competent team behind us as well, including 2 former head teachers and a board of directors made up of highly competent men in different vocations to safeguard the vision of the school. The school is a ministry of Grace Baptist Church, Aberdeen, and as such, we're a confessionally reformed school, adhering to the 1689 London Baptist Confession of Faith. And in addition to this, we strive to deliver what is known as a classical Christian education. So with regard to this, I don't have time to go into all the aspects of what a classical Christian education is, but in brief, it's primarily concerned with paideia. And that's that Greek word you're going to find in Ephesians 6:4, where it says to fathers and mothers, and I'm sure you'll hear that a lot of times today, and fathers and mothers by extension, and you fathers do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the paideia and the nouthesia of the Lord. But that concept of paideia is very key, and essentially boils down to what's already been spoken about, the formation of the soul, the training of virtue, and the impartation of a Christian worldview for children. A good example of this, with regard to one subject perhaps, would be maths. Now often you will hear objections, I'm sure many of you have heard this as well, to Christian education along the lines of, well, I don't need a Christian teacher to teach my child maths. 2 + 2 is 4. It's neutral, because it's self-evident. And the rejoinder, really, from us who are pursuing Christian education should always be, well, as I'm sure many of you would agree, 2 + 2 is 4 because God decreed it so. The laws of nature are not neutral. And 2 + 2 is 4 because God said, He spoke. This world is His. He is its designer, its creator. And so when we're teaching something like maths, it's beautiful. It makes sense because God has spoken. He has said. And that's what we want to do with Christian education. Again, I'm sure many of you would agree. That's where we're coming from. It needs to be overt. It's self-evident because God is the creator and the laws of this world are subject to Him. He created them. So we at Doxa Theo Christian School are all about striving to deliver that and pursue the revival of that form of education in this once land of the book, this glorious Scotland. And I'm saying that as an Englishman, as a proud Englishman. But this glorious Scotland, where many received such an education in times past, Andrew Melville, John Knox, Thomas Chalmers, for example. There's an Englishwoman, Dorothy Sayers, who said this in the mid-20th century about the lost tools of learning, which essentially she's describing the loss of classical Christian education in Britain at that time. By teaching them to read, we have left them at the mercy of the printed word. By the invention of the film and the radio, we have made certain that no aversion to reading shall secure them from the incessant battery of words, words, words. They do not know what the words mean. They do not know how to ward them off or blunt their edge or fling them back. They are a prey to words in their emotions instead of being the masters of them in their intellects. We have lost the tools of learning. So at Doxa Theo Christian School, we are seeking to recover these, and it is a pleasure to be around so many today who are engaged in similar efforts, and I thank you for inviting me, Niel. Please be in prayer for us. We have an inspection coming up in 2 weeks, so second week of term as we come back, and please feel free as well to come and speak to me and speak more about our curriculum. I think it was said at the beginning, talk to Christian schools about what we're teaching. I'd love to share more. I brought a number of books I'm currently using as well. And also just to talk about classical Christian education. What is it? What are we trying to revive in our approach? and how we align that as well to what's going on in Scotland, the eight subject areas of the CFE, and how we're playing that game, really. But yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity. And God bless you all.
Thank you so much. So do go to the Doxa Theo stand during our lunch break and the breaks that we will have. We also have Regius School, and they are based in Edinburgh. Sharon, can you come up and share? So Sharon's a parent, so she's going to be sharing from a parent's point of view in a Christian school. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Niel, for inviting us here. It's a real honor and privilege to be here. So I'm representing Regius School, and it's a very small Christian school, about 30 kids or so on the east side of Edinburgh. Some of the core values of the school is having God at the center, excellence in education, worship and prayer, and nurturing creativity. The mission statement of Regius is Christian education to transform a generation, to see each child as God the Father sees him or her. So I want to share my first impression of Regius. The first time I ever set foot there, it was at an end-of-term service, and we watched the kids sing their songs and so on. And I just remembering being really impressed with the students. I remember being impressed with the caliber of the students. I could see the maturity, the level of excellence that they carried. But I could also see how they held themselves in confidence, and that they knew who they were in Christ Jesus. I could see this in the children, and I was just so impressed. That for them being in this Christian school environment, something had been deposited in them that was transforming their lives. So I'd like to also share a couple of testimonies because my oldest had been at the school for 7 years, and what I had seen. One child I remember seeing, he wasn't able to stand up in front of the parents at the end of the term service. He just couldn't. They didn't force him. He would just sit at the side. And during his time there, he grew, he started to really thrive, and then he was performing at the musical, he was singing, doing end-of-term dances, and it was just really amazing to see this transformation. Another child who became a good friend of my son, he shared at an end-of-term service as well. He gave a testimony to the other students how he had come from another school where he had been badly bullied for many years, to a point he had become like a shell of himself. And he was just, he had tears in his eyes. He was so thankful to come to this Christian school, Regius, where he was loved and accepted for who he was. He developed great friends. He went on to really shine as well in the musical with his acting skills. And it was just so amazing just to see the transformation of the students, the children who go through the school. So yes, Christian education to transform a generation. So we are a small school. Children are taught at their own level, so we can move them up or down as per how they are. If they're good at maths, they can move them up, and so on. And we see that we are raising the future leaders, and we give them opportunities such as student council. Sometimes they have a student-led assembly. So we might be a small school, but we're at a point where we might outgrow our current building. We might want to move at some point. We would love to offer upper high school, which we don't yet. And we'd love to offer more bursaries and so on. So we would love for people to be praying for us, all the Christian schools and the home educators too, the churches to be praying for us and supporting if they feel called to as well. We have seen provision after provision over the years, and miracle after miracle, because we serve a great and mighty God. He is faithful. So sometimes what seems like impossible for us is actually can be very possible with God. And I want to end with the Proverbs that Niel also said. So I feel that's confirmation, yeah? Proverbs 22, train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So again, Regius also has their stand here. Please do visit them. We also have Providence Christian School, which is up in Stonaway. They could not be with us today, but they have sent some of their resources, which you'll find outside. So please do go and have a look at their flyers and also support them as well. But we also have the Melville-Knox Scotland with us today. So they are now going to come and just tell us about Melville-Knox Christian schools around Scotland. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Niel. It's good to be here once again. So we started our journey in 2014 with our first school in Glasgow. And there's various milestones that have come along the way. We grew and we moved to different premises in Glasgow. I think it was 3 years ago our second school started in Aberdeen. And then last year, also at that time, we started secondary schooling in Glasgow, and at the same time started an additional campus in Glasgow as well at the Tron Church at Kelvin Grove. Then, a year and a half ago, we're halfway through the term now, our third school started in the Highlands, things are continuing to grow and develop with 25% growth across Scotland last year. So we've now got approximately 150 children in a Christian school, in a Melville-Knox Christian school in Scotland. Big milestone for this year has been happening. The school up in the Highlands have just acquired their own building. We're looking at renovating, and we've had a building warrant after a 3-year wait for our campus in the West End to start there. And also another big milestone this year, or this school year, our first children to go through exams. So we've started S4. We've got two girls here today, young ladies, who will be going through exams. So that's quite a nervous time for them, I'm sure. But it's a big milestone with S4. And they've been through our school right from all the way from primary 1 now up to S4. And they'll be doing exams, God willing, in the spring. So, we've got, if I can just, there's been a lot happening. There's been an awful lot happening across everything that, So this verse came to mind, Paul said, a great door and effectual is opened unto me. But it goes on to say, and there are many adversaries. And certainly Satan is busy. He wants to destruct, to bring division. And we can look back over the history of the schools in Scotland, and there's been difficulties, there's been challenges, but God has been with us. He's provided for us. Please pray, that the Lord will maintain, our school. We've seen, sad events this year. Manafield's, after 38 years, had to close their doors. It's a struggle, but we need Christian schools as an option. We're not here to overrule or to undermine, to be there if parents so choose to delegate that aspect, but they need to have confidence of what they're being taught, and we believe that we have that in Melville-Knox and in other Christian schools where the Bible is the foundation for what is being taught. So do pray for us. It's a challenge. There are many adversaries, but praise God, He has been with us, and things are growing. And although we've got, to say, we've got these 4 campuses now in Scotland, 3 different schools. God willing, there'll be more. We've got a group in Stirling. We need a building. We have got a group in West Lothian. We're working towards, we have a building, but we're working towards something starting there. And we're getting new inquiries, there's a group in Fife who contacted us recently. So we're looking at growth, we're looking at options. It'd be great if churches, we have a responsibility. If all the churches were to have their own schools, that was what happened. John Knox's vision was a school in every parish. But churches are small. It's a struggle. In Melville-Knox, I'm a Reformed Baptist. I'm working with Presbyterians. There's a big group of us. We have a Reformed confessions that we all agree on. But we're working, unite. We're working in unity. So, but that's a challenge. There's opportunities for division. Satan is keen to bring division. That brings destruction. So pray for unity and pray that the Lord will continue to be with us.
Indeed. Amen. Thank you. Yannicka and John, they have a stand as well, the Melville-Knox stand. Please do visit them as well. I do promise that we will try and have lunch, but I'm just going to keep you in for a bit longer, so enjoy. So the truth is revealed. The emperor, we all know this story, right? About the emperor's new clothes. The emperor's new clothes is a fairy tale about a vain empire who is swindled by two con men who claim to make him a magical suit of clothes that is invisible to the stupid and unfit for their positions. The emperor and his counters pretend to see the beautiful clothes to avoid being called foolish, until a child innocently points out that he is naked. The story highlights themes of vanity, pride, and the fear of public opinion. The townspeople are afraid to speak up and appear stupid. They pretend to admire the new clothes. However, a small child yells out, but he hasn't got anything on. The child's innocent remark causes the crowd to break out in laughter and echo the truth. The embarrassed emperor knows that they are right, but continues the procession, holding his head high and pretending that nothing is wrong. We look at the story and we look at the world today. We look at the church today and we ask ourselves, what are we seeing? How are we looking at things? Are we in fear? Are we allowing dictatorship in our lives? Are we being deceived? Or are we like the child in the story, seeing the truth and is not afraid to say it as it is? Don't be tempted to retreat, to remain silent. We are to speak, make a difference, and thank God for all these education initiatives out there doing good. Support them. Yes, there is a solution. There is a solution. It's a spiritual solution. Our hearts must be changed by God, and only He can change hearts. We, God's people, can't expect anyone else to do it. We must lead the way. You see, judgment starts with the family of God. So stop looking for the solution to happen anywhere other than with the people of God. It starts with me. It starts with you. It starts with us in this room. And I am so thankful for the Christian home education groups in Scotland. And it sure is growing. And we have a few here with us. And they are going to share a bit about themselves and what they do as well. And also that we need to support them also and pray for them and bless them. So I'd like to just call a Classical Conversations. Yvonne is here. And she's just going to share a bit about Classical Conversations that she manages in Glasgow. But there's more around Scotland and the UK.
Hi there. Thank you for allowing us to come along. So I'm Yvonne. I am the community leader for Glasgow Classical Conversations, which started, we're on our 6th year now, which is so difficult to believe that it's been so long. And classical conversations, a lot of people say, well, what is classical conversations? But having only 3 minutes to speak, I'm not going to be able to tell you everything. So basically we are classical. So like Doxa Theo was saying, it's following the trivium and using the classical methodology for teaching. We are Christian. God is at the centre of our curriculum. In fact, Classical Conversations' mission statement is to know God and to make him known. We believe that the purpose of education is to know God and make him known. We trust parents as the child's first and most important educators. So in a CC community, you don't drop your kids off and leave them there. You're part of the community, and CC comes alongside you and equips you. So I know when I started doing CC, the first person that said to me, oh, there's no community in Glasgow, you're going to have to train and be a director. And I went, no chance, I'm an accountant. I don't know anything about this. And I went away and I thought, I can't do this. And then I heard a sermon and they were talking about having faith the size of a mustard seed. And I was like, okay, can I have faith to do this? And it just kept coming up and kept coming up. And I was like, right, okay. So I started, just my son and I, on our own, and learned everything I had to. And then just at the right time, a whole load of other families came and joined us. And we had what we call our Foundations programme, which is for our 4 to 12-year-olds. And then a couple of years later, we went into the Essentials programme, which is for 9 to 12-year-olds. So then we had Foundations in the morning, Essentials in the afternoon, and now we have Foundations, Essentials, and the Challenge programme. And the Challenge programme takes the kids all the way through to age 18. And not only is it pegged to the equivalent of an honours level high school diploma in the States, you can also, while doing CC, you can get dual enrolment with Southwestern College in the US, and we've actually got a student in London who this year graduated from Challenge 4 and CC and also had dual enrolment with Southwestern, so they also get their college credits, and she's also went on to Selden College, which has just started. So CC, it's fantastic. Please, the only way that you can really experience it is to actually come and experience it. So we have 4 open days coming up, or 4 dates that you can possibly come along. I've been talking to Neil for, 3 years now, and he eventually came to a CC day, and I think he was... It was not what he expected. Even after speaking to us and seeing us for so long, it was completely different. So please come and talk to us, and grab a magazine. There's loads of articles in it as well. It's really good for you.
Can all the kids apply?
Yes.
No, me. I mean like me.
Oh. Do you have children?
No, I'm the older kid.
No.
Oh, then bye. Next. Thank you, Yvonne. So we also have chess. If y'all can come and just speak a little bit about chess as well. And explain what chess is and what it means.
Hi, I'm the chess rep for Angus area, where we have a small group of families that meet. Now, chess is Christian Home Education Support Service. So they're there to support Christians who are home educated and to help build community among us. A little plug, there is a conference on the 15th of November, which you're very welcome to, which will support and encourage Christian home educators. So please come and pick up a leaflet about that. I have books to give away, which have the stories of Christian home educating families. For us as a family, we've got 4 kids. When I first met my husband, he told me 2 things. One, our children would never go to state school. And secondly, that we would have at least 6 children. God's only blessed us with 4. But when he had initially volunteered at a Christian school, which is now closed. So homeschooling seemed like our only option. And the verse that encouraged us most when we started out was, I can't quite see it. And all thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. So it's good to remember that the Lord is our children's real teacher, and we are at best assistant tutors. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. So that's chess. The conference is taking place here in Glasgow at the Vision Church. So please do go and find out more about that event that's happening. We're all going to, we're going to be there as well, exhibiting. The next one we have is Arma Classical, and they're just going to come and share a bit as well. Another home education initiative here in Scotland.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alicia Stewart. I am a home educating parent and U.S. native, but I live here now with my husband. And I'm a core founding member of Arma Classical Co-op. We are on the south side of Glasgow, and we are a classical Christian co-op that is Charlotte Mason based. And if you don't know anything about Charlotte Mason, she is one of you. She is a British educator from the Victorian era, and she revolutionized education in some incredible ways. And she had 20 principles of education that basically centers the child as a child of God primarily. And we believe that children should be nourished not just for their academic intellect, but also for their spiritual life. So their identity in Christ, to be nourished as children who seek to grow the kingdom and who find beauty, truth, and goodness in the life around them. So we meet once a week in the south side of Glasgow, and we just have a rich day together of learning, and we offer a couple different classes. We have our form students, which are ages 6 to about 14, and Kinderleben is offered for the students, the younger siblings of those students, so newborns up through age 5. So formal lessons start at 6 years old, according to Charlotte Mason's educational pedagogy, and we just have a wonderful day. We start our day off with assembly, so we pray together, we sing some hymns together, we repeat our motto, which is, I am a child of God. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I ought to do my duty, and I will choose what is right. And we try to incorporate that throughout our day together. So we start with our assembly, and then the Kinderlebens go to their time together, and the form students go together in our treehouse classroom, which is a beautiful atmosphere. So our time together, we are not... we are home educators that meet together, but we also offer our time together as in a school environment. So it's a mix of the two. And because Charlotte Mason's pedagogy reflects that an education is an atmosphere, a discipline, and a life, we try to incorporate the home environment into our learning at Arma Co-op. So we start our day out with some Latin lessons. When I was... brief interlude here. When I was in school, I went to a classical education for 13 years, and I learned Latin for about a decade in that school, and I never would have expected that I would be teaching Latin now to younger students, and that it would be their favorite class, but it is. We teach through stories and through songs, and they absolutely love it. And then we move on to artist and composer study, where we get to analyze and appreciate rich classical artists and composers. And we also have classical literature, we have geography, and ancient history. So last year we learned about Greek history, this year is Roman history, and then we have art instruction, Ceilidh dancing, and also nature studies and outdoor time. So overall, As home educators, we really believe that the Lord has impressed upon us the need that we should make our primary responsibility to raise up disciples of Christ. We want our children to be kingdom builders. We want them to live in relationship with Him. And we believe the best way that we can do that is by providing them with a feast of ideas that they can glean from, that's rooted in Scripture, and that's reiterated around history. And so we try to tie all that together. And thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you about Charlotte Mason and what we're doing in the south side of Glasgow. And thank you, Niel, as well.
And don't forget, you can also go to Day Stand as well. And we have Arise Home Education here as well. They're going to come and just share quickly as well. Yeah, Arise. Ooh, we have 2. I'm giving you 1 minute each then. I'm not joking.
That's bright.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. Hi, I'm Emma, and this is Shannon, and we are the founders of Arise Home Education. We offer live online lessons for teenagers who are home educated across the UK, and this is our 3rd year of doing so. We started off with classes for that kind of S3, S4 age, and now we have broadened down to S1, S2, and we're pushing up into those higher years of high school. We had our first students that we had through our IGCSE maths this year sit exams, and all our students passed their IGCSE maths exams. And we've just seen growth. This year we have 120 seats filled in our classes, and we are growing.
I think we also are really privileged to have a great amount of incredibly qualified tutors. Emma and I both tutor, but more qualified than us are, I think, are all our other tutors. We have 8 tutors, everything from Scottish Gaelic to German to apologetics and art and photography and literature and science. We have all 7 of 8 GCSE science courses. And we also, while we teach to the GCSE level, we also promote the US qualification model and have students that have gone on to higher education based on a US transcript whilst studying here, and gone on to higher education here in Scotland, as well as other places around the world. We have an international group of students as well. We have some South Africans, and we have some from Netherlands, we have some from Croatia, and so we are opening into beyond just Scotland and the UK. And so that's really thrilling. We're so privileged and feel so blessed for the vision that God has given us, for the endurance that He has given us, as He has given each of you, to do what He's called us to do in partnering with families in home education.
Thank you. So, that's Arise. Thank you. It is so important to hear from everybody that's represented here today, so I'm sure you all will have patience for this. Inga is offering also some home education support, so she's just going to quickly come and give a minute or something as well. All these information, please go to the stands. It's so important that you do. And so Inga and I used to be part of Manor-Fields Christian School, and now Inga's going to come and show you what she's now offering as well. So here we go.
Bright the light here. Okay, good afternoon. It's afternoon already. Sorry to make you wait for your lunch. I will be brief. So yes, my name is Inge van Delft, and I used to be one of the teachers at Manor-Fields. And you've already heard what happened to our lovely school. But yeah, it's been a tough year, but I'm looking forward. I'm now exploring what role God might want me to play in this realm of Christian education here in Scotland, because I do very much still feel that He calls me to continue in that area. The other day I came across a post on social media, as you do, and this one struck me because it described kind of what I was envisioning for myself. And this is what it said. I spoke to a Kentucky teacher who has tapped out of the nonsense. She quit the school system and will be teaching a homeschool curriculum to 5 kids in her home. The parents pooled money and will pay her to be their kids' private teacher. It's a concept whose time has come. And that sentence struck me. It is a concept whose time has come. What this American post describes is what I wish we could do here in Scotland. Unfortunately, the rules and regulations around education in this nation are quite a lot stricter. But though we are not permitted to run mini schools at home, so to speak, a form of this concept that this social media post promotes can be developed, I believe, also in Scotland, a different, broader approach to home education. It's a bit like what Arise is doing online, but we cannot run mini schools in our homes, but parents can call on the support of private tutors. When parents decide that the state school is no longer an option for their children, or when a Christian school is not a viable solution due to whatever reason, then home education becomes a real alternative to consider. But what if both parents need to work? If they're part-time or shift work? What about subjects you don't feel confident about? What about foreign languages, history, grammar? And what if you know you just don't have the patience for it, day in, day out? Or what if your child needs a different approach to learning and it's all just not working out? What if you could outsource some lessons? And what if you could have maybe a private tutor for part of a day or more to take some of the weight off your shoulders, or to help fit learning around your irregular working hours? Well, currently I am supporting 2 home educating families in Edinburgh, both families that used to be part of Manna Fields and are now home educating. I teach these 4 children together for 9 hours a week at one of the family's homes. They take turns hosting. We cover math and literacy, French and history mainly. I would love to teach more primary age children in this way. I would like to support families that are unsure about home educating or are finding it a struggle. Now, if this form of home education support sounds interesting to you, and if you live in Fife or Edinburgh, then please speak to me during this conference or get in touch with me. I have some flyers here. I think you have them someplace. Yeah, they're outside somewhere on one of the stands. And get in touch with me on the number on the leaflet or on the email address. There are many support systems out there for you as home educators, and teachers like myself could be part of that support system as private tutors, not just for an hour a week, extra tuition, but possibly as part of your home education plan. So thank you very much.
So the stakes for home education and parental freedom in Scotland are high. Certain proposed amendments risk increasing state control rather than offering general support to families. Now is the time to stand together and speak up for educational freedom rooted in partnership, not control. We must not be silent. We have requested for people to share their concerns with us so that Unite for Education, when we sit with the Education Committee in Holyrood, which I am part of, I can stand for us, and even when they try to silence us, friends, we really need to work together and not separately, because sometimes I even find that Christians confuse me and just want to do their own things, and then things get confused in the system, and that's how chaos happens. So we need to be together, get away from pride. We talk about pride on our streets. that's ruining our society? What about pride in our hearts that's ruining us? See, there's amendments 204, 205, 221, and 257 for Education Scotland that they now, which the bill was passed on June the 25th in 2025 this year, also created new qualifications of body and an independent one. So there's a stage 3 amendment that is likely to be reviewed again through the parliamentary process, which includes further committees review, a further debate, and potential amendments for later stages, like the reconsideration stage. For example, the Scottish Government has committed to an internal review of guidance related to home education amendments by May 2026. Even though a specific amendment was withdrawn during the initial debate, the parliamentary process can include reviewing and revisiting specific points of a bill. And the government has promised to take a close look at this issue of home education. We really need to stand and pray and protect home education. Yes, I know when I say that there is some bad home education out there, it's true. And we should not let them spoil things for us. We need to really stand up, because when all these bills and consultations and registers and rumors of registers coming in to see what you're teaching, why your kids are not in school, we need to stand together and fight this, because it is very important. Remember this, that knowledge is free, but ignorance is costly. So let's be the difference. At the heart of education is the hope for a better future. And what is that vision? It's the goal to produce world-class academics, to create others who will teach tech companies worth of billions of pounds, to build more of a diverse and inclusive society? Or do we want to see nations filled with faithful, wise, courageous disciples of Jesus Christ? Our values play the central role in deciding what kind of education we want children to receive. For Christians, nothing could be more important than to see the next generation embrace Lord Jesus Christ with living faith. Unite for Education is a movement for those who want to see a change for the better in Scottish education, and for those who are involved in the education system. If we can move the slides, please. We are greatly concerned at the state of our education system. We are greatly concerned at the state of our education system that is focused more on indoctrinating with a circular worldview rather than educating children to give them the best start in life. Christian education, whatever the context, has a vital role to play in discipleship. When parents, teachers, the church leaders commit to teaching children to seek and follow God in every area of their study, we begin to see a generation of young Christians who love the Lord their God with all their heart, soul, strength, and mind. So we have schools in the United Kingdom have a rich Christian heritage. Nevertheless, state-funded schools can be difficult for Christians to navigate as parents, teachers, or pupils, since the vast majority of children do go to these schools. Even from Christian families, Christians and churches have an opportunity and responsibility to influence what is taught and modeled to young people. Some state schools have faithful Christian leadership, and there are a few multi-academic, I'm just trying to rush this quickly, a few multi-academic trusts that still prioritize and emphasize Christian witness with a biblical truth within the state system. And we have some amazing organizations making a difference in state schools with teachers, staff, chaplains, and we are to pray for them and pray that they stay on course because they also have a lot to do and can make a difference and influence children in the state schools. And because we need to remember that this is a long road. We can't just want to take every single child out of the state system, which will be amazing if we could. But this is a long road, and those who are going into the state schools and that are making a difference, we need to support them, pray for them, and also trust God to do great things through them. We have CVE Scotland here, and they are with us today, and we're just going to ask Lynn to quickly share some a bit of the work that CVE Scotland is doing. At least they get to go into the schools. I have tried to get into the state system, but still not getting there, but we'll get there soon.
I'll be quick. I'm an ex-teacher, so I'm used to the bell going and everybody clearing out, and I'm frightened that might happen now. Thank you, Neil, for this opportunity to present to you just very quickly about the work of Christian Values in Education Scotland, emphasising Scotland because there's another organisation called Christian Values in Education, so just to be aware of that. We're here to really support teachers, school workers, chaplains, parents with children at school, to encourage them to be able to influence the school to provide an education that allows children to make informed decisions about their beliefs and values. And that can take many different ways. I haven't got the time to go into a lot of detail about that, and sadly I have to disappear very shortly to celebrate somebody's 90th birthday. But I will leave literature on the table for you, but just a couple of things for your prayerful support, and it ties in very well with what was said already today. We, as a charity, commissioned a project to review the resources that were provided by the Scottish Government for relationship, sexual health and parenthood. And we've got a set of resources for both secondary and primary and preschool now that Christian parents can feel comfortable being used, that still conforms to the needs of education requirements of E's and O's and benchmarks. We're holding 2 free webinars on that in November. I'll leave information on my table out there if you want to scan the QR code to sign up. We also are running, I'm sorry Neil, it does clash with one of your events, on the 22nd of November, we're having a conference for national schools work, for chaplains, parents, Christian teachers, to come along and actually be inspired and encouraged about what we can do within the state sector. So that's going to be running on the 22nd. Again, I'll leave more leaflets about that. And also, if you are a teacher here and you feel like you would like to have more encouragement about the fact that we want to support you, I'll leave out some of our website links. You can sign up for our newsletter. God's doing amazing things, and this I'll leave it with you. I came into teaching late in life, and I was sent, I felt the Lord was leading me into teaching, and I was sent to a Catholic school from a probation, which I thought, well, Lord, that's unusual. I wasn't expecting that. I was given the opportunity to pray with the kids every single morning. And when I get compulsory transferred after 18 months, I said to my registration class, I'm going. I'm sorry, I'm leaving. I'm going to have been sent to another school. And they said, Miss, can we ask you a question? I said, absolutely. Miss, sure you're not Catholic? And I went, why is that? Because you pray dead funny. So I want that to be an encouragement. You don't know what the Lord is using with you and how you live out your life every day. Sorry.
No, that's good. Thank you so much. Great work. We also have Out of the Box doing some incredible work, and they will explain as well. This is the first time that Out of the Box is here at Unite for Education. I got to meet you guys at the CVE Scotland event that we had in Inverness earlier.
Indeed.
So, yeah.
Thanks. I'm ready for my lunch, so come and speak to me at the table. Thanks. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Is he serious?
Thanks for having me, Neil. Yes, I run Out of the Box Scotland Limited in 2009. I started it, created it, after 4 years of working for a church, youth and children's work. I realised I wasn't a youth worker. I preferred working with children because they don't talk back as much. So I created Out of the Box. Essentially, we're set up to work in schools and churches across the north of Scotland doing creative arts. I'm a puppeteer, not kind of this kind of stuff, more kind of Muppet style puppets. Yes, I've worked in over 70 schools, worked with over 40 churches doing holiday clubs and leading assemblies and stuff. But the reason I'm here is to share a resource that we created in 2023, it was launched. But it all started in 2019 when we were in a little school in the Highlands of Scotland, 16 pupils, I think. After doing the assembly, the teacher said, do you guys have any resources? This was a non-Christian teacher. Do you guys have any resources that I could use to help teach Christianity to my kids? We didn't at the time. 2020 happened. We all know what happened. Instead of going on furlough, we took that opportunity to start creating resources. So we made a ton of videos, a ton of resources, and intro series was born and launched in 2023. An introduction to Christianity, 8 episodes, a school's stream and a church's stream. So the videos, there's 8 videos, 1 video per episode. The videos are the same, but the resources that go along with it are different for schools and different for churches. We had a lot of help from teachers, Christian teachers, theologians. Theologians, is that even a word? So it's all gospelly sound. 8 episodes, an introduction to Christianity, completely free to use. We raised enough money to make it free. Introseries.org. There's a leaflet on my table. I'm going for lunch. Bye.
I'm glad it's not only me that's rushing and I say the wrong words. So if we can just quickly go through the slides, I'm going to finish quite quick with you guys. So we have the books. Just go through the slides, yeah. So LGBT books from age 4 onwards, Sleep Around, Have an Abortion, Kill the Young and Old, Assisted Suicide, Drag Queens Are In, Pastors Are Out, Children Violence with Teachers and One Another, Young Offences, and the list goes on and on. As you see what's on our streets, we see the books that are on the slideshow, what's being taught in the schools and everything. This is the reality of what's happening. If we can just go back to the book slide, and we can see what's being taught to little kids in schools. But the good news is we have people who write books and for Christians or even for other children. And Zoe is here today, and she is going to explain what she does with Wise Owl Ministries.
Cool. Hi, I have a bookstall full of books with different topics and with some furry friends as well. And I'd just like to share very briefly on a couple of books I've written addressing some of the biggest issues that children today are facing. So this is a story called Excellent Edward. Although it's an animal story, it's a story about being human. And I find that using animal characters can really take the edge off what can be a very painful and difficult topics. Edward doesn't fit in with any of the other elephants. They're all big and clumpy and boisterous, and he's small and delicate and shy and prefers quieter activities like knitting. And the only other animals who are like this are mice. So he gets to this point of wondering if he's even an elephant at all, and even goes as far as dressing as a mouse to try and fit in and escape from this body that he feels trapped in. But with the help of adults who give him affirmation in the truest sense that his body is precious and he is an elephant through and through, and that is something to be celebrated. And how his body actually acts as a secure anchor that he can explore any hobbies that he wants, because none of his interests or the way that he talks or the way that he walks or the way that he speaks detracts from the wonderful elephant that he is. And he goes on this journey of self-discovery and acceptance. So this is a book for, it's sort of got big pictures and small strips of text. I find that all kids enjoy it, but if I was going to give it as a gift, I would maybe give it to 8 and under. But this is actually my newest... My newest release is a chapter book, kind of along the same topic of a character called Emily. So she's in this kind of identity crisis where she doesn't fit in with other girls her age, so she tries to reinvent herself as a skater and a goth and a makeup-wearing Barbie and all of these kind of things. And all of these attempts are completely disastrous. But with meeting adults who give her that affirmation and that security, she's able to get in touch with her truest self and to pursue the things that she likes best and to grow to this place of acceptance and feeling much happier. And although it's about very weighty topics, it's meant to be fun and light-hearted. It's for boys as well as girls. My nephews really enjoyed it too, and my editor told me that she was rolling around the floor with laughter. So I hope it will make you laugh too. I have all of these books available today, and although you can get them online, they're heavily discounted at this conference. And I have a card reader, so come and visit my stall. There you go.
Yes, please do. Thank you, Zoe. We have also Diamond Books that has been pioneered by UK Christian teacher Carol Lee, which seeks to nourish children with biblical resources, bringing positive ideas into their lives as well as good role models to follow. So when you go out, there'll be a stand there as well that has various leaflets, and she sent me some of the books which has examples of what you can see, and you can also order those online. If we can just go through the slides, I'm just going to end. Won't be able to go through everything else that I had, but I'd just like to go through the slides after Zoe's slide, please. Yeah, and so you'll see that we have a vision. There's a mission statement and everything for Unite for Education, but we are here to make a difference. If we can continue with the slides quickly, please. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just keep going. Keep going to the end, towards the end. Yeah. The mission, yeah, brilliant. So I can send all this to you. As you can see, I had much more things to say. So unless you want to have lunch at 3 o'clock, continue. Why Christian education? It is important. Here we go. So let us not love in word or speech, but in deed and in truth. 1 John 3, verse 18. There are also other organizations, and the first Christian university that started in Oxford. And please, there's information all outside as well. We have the C.S. Lewis Institute as well now in Scotland. They have a branch in Edinburgh. They started in Belfast. We have the Wilberforce Academy, which is an initiative through Christian Concern and the Christian Legal Center. These are for young adults. So when you're thinking, oh, what's going to happen to our kids after they go to these schools or after home education, here we go. We have things that are happening in the UK that we can stand and support. So let us rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep, as we read in Romans 12, verse 15.